Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukhakaroti Vachalam Pangoram Gayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Mande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaurakata Damadaya Nagara Grama Tarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, the appearance of Lord Varahadev, chapter 3rd canto, 13th chapter, text 43. Ka shraddaditanyaytamastava prabho rasam gataya bhuva udvi barhanam na vishmayo sau tvai vishva vishmaye yo maya yedam sashrij tivismayam. Kaha, who else? Shraddhadadita, can endeavor. Anyatamaha, anyone besides yourself. Tava, your. Prabho, O Lord. Rasam, in the water. Gatayaha, while lying in. Bhuvaha, of the earth. Udvi bharhanam, deliverance. Na, never. Vismayaha, wonderful. Asau, such an act. Tvai, unto you. Vishwa, universal. Vismaye, full of wonders. Yaha, one who. Mayaya, by potencies. Idam, this. Sasraje, created. Ativismayam, surpassing all wonders. Translation: who else but you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could deliver the earth from within the water? It is not very wonderful for you, however, because you acted most wonderfully in the creation of the universe. By your energy, you have created this wonderful cosmic manifestation. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When a scientist discovers something impressive to the ignorant mass of people, the common man, without inquiry, accepts such a discovery as wonderful. But the intelligent man is not struck with wonder by such discoveries. He gives all credit to the person who created the wonderful brain of the scientist. A common man is also struck with wonder by the wonderful action of material nature, and he gives all credit to the cosmic manifestation. The learned Krishna-conscious person, however, knows well that behind the cosmic manifestation is the brain of Krishna, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:10. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Since Krishna can direct the wonderful cosmic manifestation, it is not at all wonderful for him to assume the gigantic form of a boar and thus deliver the earth from the mire of the water. A devotee is therefore not astonished to see the wonderful boar, because he knows that the Lord is able to act far more wonderfully by his potencies, which are inconceivable to the brain of even the most erudite scientist. So who else but you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could deliver the earth from within the water? So that's our theme today. And Srila Prabhupada is very clearly emphasizing, sometimes in this material world, those people who may think something is so extraordinary, ordinary people may think that something very ordinary is very extraordinary. But extraordinary people, like devotees, they may look at the ordinary things and say, this is nothing, it's not so wonderful, because we know that the Lord is extraordinary. Okay, let me share the screen with you. I have a little PowerPoint that I prepared. Oh, I think I'm supposed to share it in a different way, like this, so that you can see me as well. Vismaya, wonderful. Okay, this should work like that. Okay, you can see the screen, right? Again, don't worry about the text. That's text is for me. Just look at the images. There is not so much text today. All right. Okay. The verse is indicating these words. What are the words? Who else but the Supreme Lord can deliver the earth from within the water? Now, this is not slide number 1. Who else but you? Who else but you, oh Lord? This is actually a journey of trust. Who else but the Lord? We all depend on somebody, right? Yesterday was Govardhan Puja, and as Sahadev Prabhu said, one of the favorite festivals, because the mercy of the Lord is we don't have to fast much. And it's also the day Krishna basically told Indra, relax, O King of the Heavens, my dear weather god. I've got this, don't worry about it. So this shift, no, the shift is from Indra's, Indra was quite notorious in how he tried to hold on to his anartha. He was really determined, very, very stubborn, that he didn't want to have faith. He was doubting, who's this little boy? He was really doubtful. Because faith means trusting the divine mischief, because Krishna is a very mischievous God, he's very playful, he's Damodar. So he is only bound by ropes of love. And sometimes Krishna protects us by first confusing us. So that was a confusion with Indra in the Govardhan Leela. Now, looking at Varahadev's pastime that we are reading today in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not rain in this case, right? In Govardhan Leela's case, Indra was pouring torrents of rain. But at the same time, Varaha, the connection is there was still the cosmic flood. The whole world is cosmic, completely in destruction, and everything is in water. And so the theme is similar, okay? The theme is everything in this material world sinks us. Everything is hopeless. But the Lord, he lifts, whether it's the lifting of Govardhan Hill with his pinky finger or lifting the whole earth, rescuing our whole existence, everything, all living species. Varaha, they've lifted the earth up. So how to connect this is our anxiety is just that inner Indra. the anxiety to control, storming because somebody else has the control. Somebody else is God, by the way. We may not know who's this blue boy playing behind the scenes. So faith means we are learning to enjoy the rain. We are learning to enjoy waiting in the room of God. It's a waiting room of God. It's not any other ordinary waiting room. And to have this faith that he will lift like Govardhan Hill. Krishna lifted the mountain. And in Varahadeva's story, we see that he lifted the earth up. So in both Govardhana's Leela's pastimes and Varahadev's pastimes, the theme is trusting beyond our reason, going beyond what we can see. Because the human nature, I want to understand before surrendering. That's the human nature, right? But I'm filled with defects. So it's very difficult for me to actually see beyond that. So divine plan or divine nature is asking us to surrender. Ye thamam prapadyante tam tataiva bhajamyaham. The degree to which I can surrender, only then Krishna can reveal. It's not the other way around. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevya. So before we choose a spiritual master, a guide, we can question, but we have to question with humility. So based on the intensity and the sincerity of the humility, we get that much knowledge. If we go to a teacher thinking, I know everything, what this guy has to teach me anyway, we cannot learn anything. So this Leelas are again re-emphasizing this point that we are conditioned to fix and control and not let go. But the Lord's message is through pastimes. He says, let me lift you. You don't have to carry the burden alone. Don't have to be alone anymore. So the modern anxiety complex we all face in our careers, in our relationships, is the Indra complex. The belief that that outcomes will depend on us. Everything is in my control. If I don't do this, this is going to stop. So thinking that I am the big boss, the Indra syndrome. And whereas spiritual recovery, it begins when I can replace that self-importance with self-surrender. And instead of thinking that without me, this problem will not be solved, I instead say, I let go and I let Govinda. Let the Lord take over. So in this verse, who else but you, O Lord, can lift the earth? Nobody, no Asura, no Devata, no demons, no angels, no demigods, no powerful person could lift earth in that kind of cosmic flooded situation. Hiranyaksha had taken away earth. So and our hearts, our hearts are heavy. They're heavy from waters of doubts, we can say. So when we trust the Lord, then miracles can happen. That's the nature. How much I surrender, Krishna will reciprocate accordingly. So this faith basically means two things, right? Faith means trusting the impossible. Now, Govardhan Leela, we see that collective trust. All the Govardhan Rajabasis, they had that collective trust in Krishna. And Varahadev's pastime, we are seeing that personal rescue from drowning waters, and not of anybody ordinary. We're talking about Bhumi Devi. So when, like some, how can I say, think of this. Think of this like Varahadev is, in fact, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur quotes this. Varahadev represents the rescue from our subconscious problems, our previous life karmas, our burdens that we are carrying. And because our subconscious mind is storing memories, is storing patterns, is storing impressions, which is known as samskaras in Sanskrit, then we are still hanging on to something which is not sustainable, something that is not reliable. So one side, we see the boy with a flute lifting the mountain. One hand he's playing the flute, another hand he's lifting the mountain with the pinky finger. And then on the other hand, we're seeing the divine incarnation, divine boar emerging from this cosmic ocean with earth on his tusks. So same story. He lifts. We don't need to panic. We don't need to panic. And I mean, as a human being, when Wi-Fi gets cut off, I can panic. Of course, I couldn't give the class if the Wi-Fi is cut off. So the Vrajvasis, they're not panicking. They're just like thunderbolts is falling and this Samvartaka clouds. But they're like, look at the beautiful face of Krishna. That's faith. So Indra is representing this intellectual demanding guarantees. And then Brajbasis represents, I don't need guarantees. I have Krishna. So the point is this, I have my inner Indra. We all have this inner Indra throwing tantrums when plans are changing, when things are not going according to my plan. But trust starts when logic runs out, when I can let go. That's when real faith begins. From fear-based devotion to love-based devotion or love-based faith. Fear-based faith is like, if I don't do this, then God will become angry. But that kind of God is Indra. Whereas Krishna is not that kind of God. He's not insecure. So Govardhan is representing this heart spontaneous surrender, how the Brajbasis are surrendering. It's a simple yes to divine plan. Having that faith. How often do I maybe act like Indra, even worship like Indra, meaning with fear. And the truth is, when nobody can pull me out of certain situation, it's only the Lord. Only the Lord can help me. Who else but you? Who else but you, oh Lord, could lift the earth from the waters? So the waters can also represent our turbulent emotions. And the earth represents our higher self, our consciousness. Sometimes because of our subconscious impressions that we're carrying for many lifetimes, our consciousness may be very low. So Krishna can lift us up. Sometimes I can't. Like I try to lift my mood up in the morning and I struggle so much. But then Varahadev is lifting planet like a little toy. So that's the Lord, right? Varahadev, when he does this particular pastime, it's a very big indication of the acharyas describe that God can enter into the muddy waters of our emotions, muddy waters without any judgment, muddy waters of anarthas. And he can enter into that muddy water without any hesitation. And we all have a muddy moment, anartha moment in our life when we think that nobody should see me like this. I feel so powerless. I feel like I'm so sick and I can't function as I want. My relationships are not as nice as I would like it to be. I'm not
How are
able
you?
to. Please mute yourself. Somebody's microphone is on. Please mute yourself. Yeah, so when we think that nobody should see me in this situation, I can't be weak, I can't take help, I need to manage this on my own, that's also ego. So the Lord is saying, no, I can enter. Even in fact, Krishna is the Paramatma in the heart, that he accompanies us even if it's a worm in the stool. Krishna is present in the heart as Paramatma. I mean, imagine that. Imagine how merciful Karuna Sagara Govinda. He's actually the merciful Lord, that he accompanies us in every living experience of every species of life. So this waters of samsara, which is deep and dark, these waters is our subconscious mind. There are so many layers of emotions and regrets and desires and hankerings, hidden self-image, and the earth, which is pure, which represents the pure self, which is buried under all these waves of reaction. So Varahadev coming, it represents that Krishna can enter our darkest psychology. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because he was an astrologer, and he would, even in some of his commentaries, he speaks about planets, and he speaks about avatars, how different incarnations of Vishnu rule different planetary energies. And so Ketu, Rahu and Ketu are very tough planets in a person's chart. The very reason we come into this material world is because of these two planets. And Ketu, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur refers to as that dark psychology. But the Lord, he can enter, dive down into that. So every time we're relapsing into self-doubt, overthinking, or addiction, we're sinking into that ocean. We can't rescue ourselves because the rescuer is also drowning. No, we want to try to rescue ourselves, but we are drowning ourselves. So that's the way that the Lord must descend into our experience. So it's a very, Varahadev is a very, very extraordinarily merciful and important incarnation. The Lord doesn't, he's not standing on the shore here. He's really diving deep into our muddy waters to save us. He becomes a boar. Boar is not like a very fancy animal in a materialistic sense, but he enters the mud, that muddy waters, very, very descriptive of how our consciousness can become being in touch with matter, being in touch with the three modes of material nature. Why he does that? Because the Lord wants to encourage us. He wants to encourage us that we can have a personal relationship with the Lord in spite of our anarthas, in spite of our dirt. We don't have to be perfect and clean to be in connection with the Lord. We can be whatever, wherever we are, but we can take shelter of the Lord. So trust means that to release the understanding that everything has to be perfect. So he lifts us only when we let go. That's a secret. And Varaha is the power that restores us to sanity. He didn't, Varahadev, he didn't need any rescue team. He doesn't need any superhero attire. He just has his tusks and determination. And in one of the scriptures, it is described that the tusks of Varahadev, Sudarshan entered the tusks. Very, very, esoteric. So Varahadev was a divine multitasker, as this thinking. So we think that strength means control. But no, God's strength in spiritual world, God's dictionary, strength is surrender. Strength is surrender in God's world. So when Varahadev roars, that vibration that shakes off all illusions, the Varahadev's roar removes all previous life conditionings. And that noise that Varahadev is roaring, it can silence our overthinking. And it can silence all those baggage and burdens that we've been carrying. ಬೆಟ್ಟದಂತ ಪಾಪವನ್ನು ಹೊತ್ತಿರುವೆ ನಾನು ಅದು ಸುಟ್ಟು ಬಿಡು ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲಯ್ಯ ನೀನು. So we've been carrying mountain loads of sins from many, many lifetimes. And Varahadev, we can trust him that the power of the Lord is just, his roar is so powerful that those mountains of sins and anarthas can be destroyed just with that element of faith. So imagine that cosmic roar of Varahadev. It's not very like scary. It's actually awakening. It's like a sweet alarm clock. When you know that as soon as the alarm rings, you're going to get $1 million. Imagine that kind of an alarm clock. Sometimes we fear that, oh, maybe God's power, if I associate with God's power, then I will have to face punishment. But actually, the power of Krishna is to save us. It's to safeguard us. It doesn't dominate. Because in this world, I may have an experience as somebody who is a leader or a boss or superior to me, trying to control, like Prabhupada says, trying to control over the nature, right? Lord it over the nature. But the Lord is not in any need to prove that. Everything belongs to him anyway. So he doesn't dominate. He just restores. He restores. peace. He restores harmony. Yeah. So when the grace of Lord enters our heart, ego will tremble. So to distinguish between these two things, when is the ego trembling? It's the art of bhakti yoga. So it's detox, it's not destruction. When the ego is destroyed, the grace is coming, we will feel lighter, we will feel happier to give control to the Lord. And the tusks of Varahadev, it symbolizes also discernment. It is giving up. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says that we have self-deception. Sometimes we are getting involved in shady deals and getting tricked by Maya. False identities, all this shame, all these burdens we carry. So instead, when Varahadev comes, he awakens, that spiritual awakening happens. So let's ask ourselves, what am I afraid to let the Lord lift? What am I afraid of? To let the Lord lift my burdens. Why am I still struggling? Because maybe I have mistaken control for safety. Maybe I'm thinking that by trying to control the situation, I will feel safe. Maybe that's an obstacle. We need to look at our own hearts to see that. All right. Let me see. Yes, let's go to the Varahadev, the Lord of Restoration. So imagine Mother Earth. She's a consciousness, no, represents a consciousness buried in ignorance. The earth is drenched in darkness. No, Hiranyaksha is taking the earth down. Suddenly, there's this golden tusks glowing with compassion. So just look at that waters of your own heart, in your heart, the fear and the confusion that overwhelms us. And then there's the tusk of Varahadev, which is a spiritual intelligence that pierces this illusion that we are having. And remember the roar of Varahadev, awakening faith in our hearts. Depending on how open we are, the Lord will immediately give us that faith. In whatever we want to have faith, the Lord gives more faith in it. If somebody wants to be an atheist and they keeping saying, I'm an atheist, it becomes strong, true. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that in whatever aspect the person wants to go and have faith in, I give them the strength to do it. So spirituality is all. Sometimes we think, oh, I have to be very 100% pure in order to practice spiritual life. But actually, that's a thought which is neophyte understanding. The reality is not who is more pure that is dear to Krishna. Even if somebody is impure, how much he thinks of the Lord, how much he takes shelter of the Lord, even through those impurities, is what actually shows the thought, the thoughts, the anarthas. That's the mud. You are not. In other words, the self is Satchidananda. It's eternal, it's blissful, it's pure by nature. And all this mud that is covering is not us. No, so it's external. So if Varahadev can lift a whole planet, he can definitely lift your Monday mood of not wanting to go to work, maybe. So spiritual growth is not really about becoming better. People usually say, oh, I just want to be a better person. They don't want to like surrender to God and all that. So it's never about, it's not about me becoming better. It's more about letting the Lord remind us that we were never broken. That's why Prabhupada called this back to Godhead. We go back to Godhead because that's where we truly belong. That's our real home. So we go back home. Like we were on a 3 months tour, Europe tour, and I just came back home because Mayapur is our base. This is our home. So similarly, going back to Godhead, it means spiritual growth is all about letting the Lord remind us that we were never broken. Such a beautiful thought. From this Leela, we can see. All right, so this is the image of Krishna lifting Govardhan like it is nothing. And here is Varahadev. So Govardhan, the community, right? Let's take shelter together. shows that. And Varahadev is the personal faith, one-on-one rescue mission. As if you read Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur speak about Ketu, the depth of our consciousness. We need others. The point is this: we don't have to do it alone. We need other people. Sometimes God saves us publicly. Sometimes He dives into our private life. He checks and corrects the internal intentions. It's not so much about people say, oh, you believe in God, why He didn't protect you from this external crisis? First of all, God is not your servant. So He doesn't need to do anything. Second, maybe those obstacles are actually good for us. So sometimes He enters our private inbox and there is a chaos happening. So either way, Krishna's purpose is always to save us. He may not always save us publicly. Sometimes He's saving us privately. Indra's case was a little bit public episode, both humiliation and saving. All right, let's see what else comes here before I want to speak about how it's a process of recovery. See, Varahadev is both personal salvation from individuals being maybe drowned in our own subconscious thoughts and burdens. And Govardhan is more about, hey, I have the hill up. You want to come and take shelter? गिरिधारी बनवारी मन मोहन कुंज बिहारी प्यारी आ जाओ गिरिधारी. So in this bhajan, the whole mood is that Krishna has the mountain held high, which is our eternal shelter. It's the shelter from our external and internal dangers. But He doesn't force us to go under that hill. It's a choice that we can all make. Giridhari, so says, I am so filled with unhappiness. I am so sad. But by taking shelter of you, Giriraj, I become happy. So this bhajan is extremely beautiful. In Kartik month, if you like, you can study this song, Giridhari. You'll find it in Govardhan Eco Village. They sing this every evening during Kartik time. It's an amazing song. So Govardhan is saying, stand with me. Come, take my shelter. And Varahadev is saying, hey, let me carry you. Let me lift you up. Let me lift your consciousness. So we need both forms of grace, outer shelter and inner rescue. Because sometimes Krishna is holding us, saving us from a storm, and sometimes He's diving into our storm inside the heart. It's not like nothing is less or more. Internal and external storms both can be very traumatic. So we should stay in the Sangha when we are overwhelmed, Sangha of devotees, but we must silently seek that shelter of the Lord internally, because externally sometimes we may become good singers, good speakers, good fund collectors, leaders, and then people may have a lot of expectation with us, but internally we may be drowning. We may not be experiencing the joy of Krishna consciousness that the scriptures describe. Sometimes we may feel alone, we may feel lost, we may have so many people that envy us because of our position, because of our service, whatever reason. So in those times, we can't only externally look for friends, especially if we are in position of leadership or something. People may have their own intentions why they want to be friends. It may become, the more popular you are, the more famous you are, the harder it is to find real authentic friendships. There are even some articles, they speak about this in the material world. They've done researches to say that you will be more likely, more happy the less famous you are. Because the more famous you are, happiness becomes harder. Because people will have some conditional principles of friendship. So both ways, Krishna can lift us. Okay. Now, Srila Prabhupada, no, he's saying in the purport, the intelligent man gives credit to Krishna. So bhakti is all about this recovering our heart and mind, faith, restoring this clarity. Not that, oh, the scientist's brain is so great. No, we say, oh, Krishna's design. Krishna says in the Gita to Arjuna that I'm the ability in the man. So when Krishna gives intelligence to somebody, we appreciate Krishna, not necessarily the person only. Of course, we shouldn't be jealous of the person. We should say, oh, this person is so lucky. Krishna has blessed them with beauty or grace or strength or whatever the opulence is. Then there's Anartha Nivritti. Anartha Nivritti is all about grace, removing illusions from the heart. Anartha Nivritti is not about myself taking a knife and going and killing my own traumatized parts. No, Anartha Nivritti is allowing grace of the Lord to remove these illusions of whatever dependencies we might have, whatever negative thinking we might have. So when Prabhupada is saying this, that intelligent man means they give credit to Krishna. So we don't thank Google or AI or cosmic engineering who made the brain chips or whatever. It's not that idea. The idea is that it's the concept is Krishna is the controller, and he has given all these gifts to all these people. And because he thinks, therefore, everything exists. So we say, Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Tena tyaktena bhunjita magrudaha kasya sridhanam. So this is Ishopanishad. Everything, Ishavasyam idam sarvam, everything belongs to the Lord. Our families belong to the Lord. Our businesses belong to the Lord. The countries belong to the Lord. That's why in spiritual context, it's like, what's the point? A little bit more land, little bit less land. It's not going to solve the miseries of material life and death. In fact, it always surprised me when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, this was during the time that India was under the Britishers' rule. And there were so many freedom fighters fighting for India to become free from the Britishers' control. And Srila Prabhupada was one of them. He also wanted to free India from the Britishers. And when Prabhupada met Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur just couldn't care anything about politics. Then Prabhupada asked him, are you not worried about India being under the control of Britishers? Don't you value our freedom? And then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explained the real idea of freedom. And in fact, Subhash Chandra Bose, he was a freedom fighter, very like passionate freedom fighter, and unlike Gandhi, was more about peace and everything. So he came to recruit soldiers. So he approached Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then he asked for some of the ISKCON Gaudiya Math devotees to join the army, Indian army, to fight against the Britishers. And then when these army came to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, sorry, the leader came to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta said very diplomatically, he just said, "Oh, look at our men. They are so skinny. They just chant. They don't have any strength to go and fight, Just let them be." So then they let them be. So they didn't recruit the devotees to go and fight in the war. So the point is that, what's the point? The point is that the faith of what is freedom, the faith in where do we put our freedom. Okay, India became independent. I mean, I'm Indian bodied, and I am, you're all, most of you are Africans, so you may not feel the thing about India, Britishers and freedom. But the truth is, it's not any better. Yes, Britishers stole from us. They took all the wealth and the property and the gems, and they looted us, okay? At the same time, there was some kind of order, more order to India than what is now. So the point was, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur did not believe that external war or having this piece of land or who rules it, those are not the most urgent issues. So he convinced Srila Prabhupada. Okay, you can imagine Prabhupada was quite stubborn. He convinced Prabhupada not to invest the energy in that. In fact, Prabhupada, he focused on other things and he built so many temples. And art of Krishna consciousness does not have to wait for who runs the country. That was Bhakti Siddhanta's mood, and Prabhupada also taught us that. So the human trap is we want to be hero. We want to be hero, national heroes, community leaders. We want to be hero of our own healing sometimes, oh, such a strong person. But the truth of recovering in Bhakti Yoga is remembering the real hero. Who was the hero in Mahabharata? Some people say it was Arjuna. Some people say it was Karna. Some people say, no, it was Bhishma. Some people say it was Bhima because he killed all the Kaurava brothers. What do you think? Anybody can unmute and tell me who was the hero of Mahabharata?
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you for the question. I heard a story that a question like this was asked to Bhima's grandson, Babarik. And his answer was that it was Sudarshana Chakra.
Okay. Yeah.
It was Sudarshana Chakra who actually killed all the people. So I don't know if that is the case.
Well, I love the answer. I love the answer. Yeah, I mean, Sudarshan Chakra under the guidance of Krishna. So ultimately, right, he's the Sudarshana Chakradhari. Chakradhari is Krishna who holds the chakra. Of course, Sudarshan is a person. He's a supreme. Although, in the whole Mahabharata, Sudarshan Chakra, he didn't really kill anybody. That also shows that surrender, no? When somebody doesn't have power, it's very easy to keep quiet. When somebody's so powerful and they cannot go and kill anybody on the battlefield, that shows the surrender. Yeah, so the idea is Bharatamallanam bentannaru Arjuna, there's a bhajan. Bharatamallanantannaru Bhimana. So there's like different people. This is maybe the hero, maybe that is the hero, maybe Karna is the hero, maybe Bhishma is the hero, maybe Bhima is the hero. But finally they say, Bharatamallaralla ivarella. Bharatamallaralla ivarella. Bharatamalla. Who is it? Vasudeva Krishna. No, so it's actually finally the actual real hero is Krishna of the Mahabharata. Because he's one, right? He's Krishna. He expands in many forms, in different Vishnus, expands and he's Paramatma, he's Bhagavan, he's Paramatma, he's also Brahman. So that there's no other better hero, like we saw in the beginning of the verse. No one else. No one else. So there are many songs by our acharyas. First of all, Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He's the cause of all causes. So he is Ishvara, he's the supreme, he's Parama, he's Krishna, he's Satchidananda, he's everything. And then there is a song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur where he says, Manas deho geho jo kichu mo arpilo tua pade Nanda Kishore. This song really encapsulates today's talk and this thoughts in this class. My everything that belongs to me, my mind, my capacity, my family, my nation, my everything, my dear Lord. Jo kichu more, whatever it is, actually, I can call it mine. I offer it to you, O Nanda Kishore, because you are ultimately the master of everything. And then there's also our song, Bhaja Hure Mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Dulabhamanava janama satsange chapala sukha labha lagire. So please chant the holy names. Let's cling to the holy names, the actual eternal sense of belonging. Because Vajahure mana Srinandanandana. Durlabha manava janama satsange. So this human form of life is so rare. It's extremely rare. Manushyanam sahasreshu. Among those human species, how many people are interested in Krishna consciousness? So the theology of bhakti is very simple. Either you struggle alone or you just stop struggling. Either you drown trying to save yourself, or just float in the mercy of the Lord. Why? Because Ishvara Paramakrishna, because he is the cause of all cause. And surrender, Sharanagati, the whole song of Sharanagati by Bhaktivinoda Thakur is an emotional offering. I offer even my sadness, my dear Krishna. I am feeling sad today, but I am offering my sadness to you because that's all I have got. So it doesn't matter to Krishna how muddy our emotions are. What a Lord. What an amazing movement you have joined. Congratulations. So you can tell your mind, Bhaja Hure Mana. It's pure therapy. Hey, mind, chill out. Trust his lotus feet. Trust him. Go take shelter under Govardhan. That's why we have all these bhajans, because it's like bypassing the mind. Mind loves bhajans. So sometimes we need to slow down. Yeah, we need to slow down. All right, what else? I'm gonna stop here and see if we have any comments, questions. I do have like a few more points, but depending on your questions, maybe we will get into these topics.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much, of course, as always, for beautifully sharing with us this Krishna Katha of Lord Varaha. Dear devotees, if anyone may have comments, questions, reflections, realizations you may want to share, ask, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your questions or share your reflections. Sri Radha Govinda, thank you so much. I have this question as you were speaking, and you were giving two different pastimes. They seem to be different, but the essence is the same. That is Govardhan. Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill, and then this Lord Boa, the manna, also lifted the entire earth. So there is a lift in both pastimes. That brings me to this question of prayers. In the case of the lifting of the Govardhan hill, the residents of Sri Vrindavan prayed to Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna saved them by lifting the Govardhan hill from the onslaught of Indra's incessant downpour. In the case of Lord Varaha, Boa lifting the Earth planet, it was not the residents of the Earth planet per se who prayed to the Lord for his intervention. It was the demigods. Mm-hmm. So my question is, sometimes a devotee prays to the Lord for other devotees. And I'm wondering if such prayers actually help or actually work. Like we see in the case of the demigods having mercy upon the living beings on the earth planet. They prayed to Krishna, and Krishna appeared as Lord Boa. So I just want to find out if that helps. Someone praying for another person.
Okay, the shortest answer answer is yes. I want to quote some prayers from Indra, okay? First of all, he says, there are foolish, and in time, they surrender. Indra is like, in the Govardhan prayers, he's feeling this remorse. He's feeling it like, oh my God, there's so, and he's praying for all those people. He's praying. So the point seems to be whether it's Brahma's prayers, when he realizes, whether it's Indra's prayers, whether it is the demigods praying, different pastimes, we see that, especially those who are in some power, some position. Daksha, when he does the prayers after his redemption, one theme that keeps coming up is the mood, is the intention. So I might pray for somebody like this. Oh God, give him good intelligence so that this person will stop doing this nonsense they're doing, right? That's one kind of prayer, right? It's a prayer. It's a prayer. But I heard from Urmila Mataji's classes, and when she was speaking about the true prayer is when you want others to learn their lessons joyfully. That's a true prayer. Because I may just say, when this person will give it, God, give him good intelligence, why this person is, teach him a lesson. But the point is, we cannot learn our lessons joyfully if we wish for others to learn their lessons harshly. So the real meaning of prayer and benediction, no? I'm thinking of Narada Muni. Sometimes he gives curses. Become Nalakumara, Manigriva, become trees. He gives a curse. He gives so many curses, so many people get these curses. But the curse of Narada Muni is a blessing because it makes us see Krishna at the end. Similarly, the answer is yes again. The prayers, when we pray for other people, it is the most powerful thing we could do. It's the most precious thing we could give to people. And from what I have seen, and I can't remember like specific story, but I'm thinking of several people who shared with me that just because of the prayer of the devotees, they were saved from very, very terrible situations. It's not even their sadhana, it's not their studies, it's not their own spiritual purity. It's just the causeless mercy of the devotees. Sometimes they say, no, even in spiritual life, it's not really what you know, it's who you know. It's whose blessings. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says that he gives this two paradoxes, right? If I criticize you and your anarthas, I'm actually doing a favor by taking that anartha upon me and actually kind of blessing you, releasing you from that anartha. Similarly, when we pray for somebody, we become a channel. We become a channel for the Lord to show mercy through us. Through us, we are blessing people. So obviously, and it's like a pipeline of golden fluid flowing off. Of course, you will also be touched by gold. So another level of answer is, it's not just whether it works, it's extremely beneficial to pray for others, to pray for the devotees. And when we see whether, in one sense, Indra didn't have to pray. Okay, learned his lesson, gone. Another one, he says, when he realizes his mistake and he surrenders, he says, I'm still trying to play God. And he says, I just don't have big enough clouds. It's like, and then he also says, my dear Lord, but you're so kind to me that you've bestowed your mercy upon me by destroying my false pride. This is Indra, right? Indra praying. And then Surabhi, when Surabhi does her prayers, she says to Krishna, she says, you are our Indra. So the point we see is whether Surabhi is praying, whether Indra is praying, whether Brahma is praying, whether the demigods are praying, the mood we see, the mood of that prayer is very much higher level of consciousness, higher vibration. It's not the lower. It's always like higher. They're praying for others. They're praying, it's like vulnerable. I don't know if it answers your question. Maybe you have any thoughts after this?
Yeah, it answers in the sense that, like you said, when someone prays for another person, it works, but even beyond that is that it purifies both the person praying and then the person being prayed for.
Yeah.
But I am also thinking, because some few moments before my Gurudev left his body, of course, when he was not feeling well physically, devotees all over the world were praying for him. So he himself said that all over the world, everybody is praying for him. People are doing puja for him. But ultimately, all the prayers rest on the person being prayed for and the Supreme Lord's arrangement. And he said in his case, it's over. So I am wondering what will be the effect of someone praying for another person, if even it is spiritual, for spiritual purpose, if even it's for spiritual purpose. But the person you are praying for has already made up his mind or her mind. And the person has made up the mind because of his understanding of the Supreme Lord's plan. Then what will be the effect of one's prayer? And that is why personally, it's difficult for me to pray to the Lord, because when I do pray to the Lord, I'm going to ask him to do something for me. And it is up to him whether he will do it or not. And if he does not do it, then I might be feeling some sort of despondency that this is my Supreme Lord. I depend on him all the time. I have nobody to go to. He's the only person I count on. I'm trying my best to serve him, and I have this problem. I approached him. I told him all my problems, and he still didn't respond to me. That might make me lose faith. And so personally, I do not go to Krishna asking him for helping me this way, that way. But others may, I say others do. And I am just wondering if somebody has so much faith in Krishna, praying to Krishna for overcoming a particular problem and does not get the problem rectified or resolved, how that is going to affect that particular person's faith in Krishna. So these are some of the thoughts that made me ask this question, which you answered. But I would say thank you for the answer. But it's
one more thing
difficult.
that comes to one more thing. Prayer is never wasted. Why? Because we have to define prayer, right? Prayer is just such a high level vibration of, it's beyond selfishness. It's beyond, especially like the word you used, when it's meant for spiritual benefit. So it creates a field. See, I did a lot of this energy healing and all in the past. So we all have auras, we have chakras. So when you actually see somebody, there are exercises. Say somebody's praying and somebody else is just dreaming about the new car that they want to have. And both of them are just physically on the same situation. They're closing their eyes and they just think, we check their auras. The person who's praying, the energy field of this person is very, very big. It's, beautiful colors are coming out. So prayer means it's energy where the offering of consciousness to God, to divine will. It's like a connection, direct connection. So even if external form, like the body of the person, maybe due to illness, death, all these things which is connected to the bodily form-based prayers or desires or expectations may not always change. But the vibrational field, we remember we are the souls, okay? First lesson of Krishna consciousness. So the soul benefits. The soul benefits because of that love that is surrounding the person. So the fruit of the prayer is not always, may not always be a cure as we want, as we expect, but it's connection. The person I am praying for, somebody, I'm praying for my Guru Maharaj. Who am I to pray for some great soul? But it's a connection. For me, it's a connection with my Guru, with Krishna. And then whether it benefits that person, of course it does. Because we are not temporary. This body is temporary, but we are not temporary. We're eternal. We are sensitive to devotion. So prayer is a form of devotion. In Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter, no, Krishna speaks about how every single prayer, every single remembrance of God is very, very precious. Yeah, Antakale chamameva smaranmuktva kalevaram. That's like 1 second, 1 minute of remembrance of Krishna. So what to speak of other prayers? So it may not always save the body, but it can save their state of consciousness. It makes it easier for them. If you, I mean, that the book Beggar is just far out. When Maharaj Bhakti Maharaj writes, it's just like, so, you really feel like being pulled out of the body experience. So the karma can describe the script, whether it's the sickness, financial loss, but the grace, it tones it. It's not what happens to us. It's like the Pandavas were on an exile, but they were happy. So prayers and the blessings of, Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya, physically their body was with the Kauravas, but their prayers was with the Pandavas. They were praying for Pandavas to win. So it's not, the prayer is not just limited to body. So just like I was thinking of this example of ghee, when ghee is burning with fragrance, similarly, like a soul, when their soul is leaving this mortal body and leaving to the next journey. So similarly, the influence of prayers, it will impact this person to have less fear, more serenity, or maybe even sometimes often glimpses of Prabhupada and Krishna when people are praying. And so that's why Prabhupada always recommends, and we do that, right? We chant near the person who's leaving the body. Even if they cannot respond, we know that the soul. My grandmother passed away recently, and when I was in the US, and I was with her all night, and she was not conscious. But we were chanting, we were playing music, we know that the soul is listening. So you may say no, but the person is unconscious. But even science, talk about science, even science proves when you're with the person, you hold that person, you say they're not conscious, they're in a coma, but you can still see changes in that person. So prayers are similar. Prayers are very, you're not maybe, we're not changing their fate, but we are holding their hand through the tunnel. So that there is less confusion. And it's psychologically a very healing process for the person who's praying and for others. It's humility. It's also, I think the greatest benefit of prayer is remembering that the Lord is the master. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Krishna is the controller. And taking that bridge, it's a bridge. Prayer is the bridge, even beyond death.
Well, thank you for the elaborate response. Very beautiful, very satisfying. But again, I'm not sure whether I heard or I read. I think both. I think I read and also heard where Sri Prabhupada was saying that we as devotees should not be so quick to offer prayers to the Lord because we are not very matured and we do not know exactly how to pray. And I think that is part of the problem because my question, maybe I should have explained it earlier, because I understand that prayers is one of the 9 processes of devotional service. So it's very important. But in many other schools of thought, in many other religious faiths, their form of prayer is not the type of Vaishnav prayers we are accustomed to. Because like Vaishnav saints' prayers, just imagine Mother, what's the name? Uttara.
Uttara, huh?
Parikshit's mother. This Astra is coming to consume her and her body and her baby. And she is glorifying Krishna. And I was thinking to myself, if I am in such a very dire need of Krishna's help, Krishna, you know what is happening. Please help me. But Uttara is glorifying Krishna. Until finally she said, even if you don't protect me, no problem, but protect the fetus. So what I'm trying to understand is the sort of manner different schools of thought, different religious bodies offer prayers to God seem to me to be quite different from the Vaishnava saints, how they prayed to Krishna. And if we as Vaishnava devotees also want to follow suit and pray, then probably we have to be mindful how we pray and what we actually praying for.
Yeah.
But like I said, I wholeheartedly accept your answers because no matter what, we're still connecting with the Lord.
No, what you say is extremely valid. It's very important key that it's true. We don't know exactly how to pray. Sometimes we are, we are very unintelligent, to just say it in the least offensive way. We don't know what to ask. Even when my Guru Maharaj, whenever we pray, he says, if you so desire, we always have to add Krishna, if you so wish, if you so desire, then please pray. That was Prabhupada also. When he was sick, he asked the disciples to pray like that. So we should always be careful to consider Krishna's will. What is Krishna's will? And then what you said, the other point that you said is also very important. Another solution to the problem of we don't know how to pray is we just repeat the prayers of the acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and so we don't risk it. We don't risk. We just repeat the prayers and then we get the connection. So we are a little bit safe. But there is an art of praying.
Yeah.
There is a right way how to pray for others, how to pray for ourselves, how to connect to Krishna. And this 12 steps, we have like an Anartha Nivriti group. We have, if anybody's interested, I can send the link. You can join. It's like meetings where we actually learn how to pray. For example, one of these prayers of the Christian saint from Assisi,
Saint Francis.
Saint Francis, right? You see his prayer, it's so high vibration.
Yeah.
Grant that I may not so much seek to be understood as to understand. Let me not seek so much to be loved. Let me love. So it's a very high vibrational, safe prayers, I would say. Or the serenity prayer, which says, grant me the strength. The serenity prayer, which says, how does it go? Dear Krishna, I always say dear Krishna, but it's dear God. Grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Krishna's will, not ours, be done. So yeah, there are certain prayers which are universal, which is safe. Not that we're saying keep this person alive or let this person make money, or we should be careful. Because prayer also means we are giving some of our credits somewhat. So if it's not high level purified desires, it may kind of backfire on us. But if we seek very prayerful, very devotional, then we increase our credits. Yeah, see,
Well,
Anadi
yeah,
Nidanam.
Anadi Nidanam Prabhu, yes. Please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna Mother, my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. So, Mother, it appears to me that all the incarnations of the Lord came to be as a result of calamities. Is there any form of the Lord that came as a result of the joyful mood of the devotees?
I missed a couple of words. They came as a what?
His question is a very nice question. His question is, it appears to him that all the various incarnations of the Supreme Lord are as a result of devotees going through some hard situations. Is there any type of incarnation that the Lord assumed because the devotees were joyful and the Lord decided to come and have joyful pastimes with them? It seems to him that each and every time the incarnations come because there were some sort of calamities.
Yeah. I mean, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrujamyaham. Krishna says in the Gita that he comes whenever and wherever there is religious principles, where he has to establish dharma. No, he comes to protect the pious. He comes to destroy the evil. So whatever the Lord does is purposeful. He doesn't just do for entertainment. He has some purpose. At the same time, there is one incarnation, Karunavatara. Who is that?
Lord Chaitanya.
Yes, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His purpose was not really any other. He came to experience the love of Radha. So Radha Bhava Gaura, he is Krishna himself who appeared in the mood of Srimati Radharani because he wanted to understand what is so great about himself that the gopis and Srimati Radharani are so mad and obsessed about. He couldn't understand it as Krishna. So he had to come as Lord Chaitanya. So that again glorifies the glories of Srimati Radharani is amplified. So yeah, there are incarnations. I mean, Lord Chaitanya had external purpose and internal purpose. So externally, he came to establish the Sankirtan movement, which is spreading like wildfire. We cannot even say copyright of ISKCON. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not copyright of ISKCON. So many other people have made it copyright and they're singing it. People are becoming vegans. People are becoming vegetarians. Everybody is becoming more and more conscious about things, So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation was, he didn't kill anybody. He didn't, so he came just to give love. He opened the treasure house of love, and he wanted to distribute the fruits of love of God. And he said, hey, why don't you all help me? So to distribute it. So yeah, Lord Chaitanya
Well,
is
I have to say a big thank you to Anadi Nidanam Prabhu's question, because I had not actually thought of it that way. And moreover, you quote in 4.7, Bhagavad Gita 4.7, and of course 4.8 also, affirms his question that Krishna usually comes when there is problem. And that makes me now understand a little better why Lord Chaitanya's incarnation is kind of hidden, because it's unlike any other incarnations of the Lord. Yeah. Well,
how is that verse? There is that verse, not verse, it's the bhajan. Gaura Arati bhajan. Kripa Bodo Khana Koro. I mean, no, that's Nityananda. The one, it says that the most merciful of all incarnations,
Yeah.
Nobody is, no, which incarnation is as merciful as Gauranga? Nobody. So I think this verse of today about Varahadev, we can rewrite it in Lord Chaitanya's glories. In fact, oh my God, I should give a whole different class about this. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually showed the boar incarnation in his Chaitanya Leela.
Yes, I
Let me
heard.
show you the picture.
I heard, yes.
Yes, so I think that is our main meditation for today. We can actually literally, let's do it right now for a minute. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and see this cosmic ocean glowing. And there is the golden form rising, holding the whole world, which is also your world. It's safe. You're feeling safe in the hands of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is also Varahadev. And we make a prayer. Dear Lord Gauranga, I have sunk in the waters of my own making. Lift me as you lifted the earth as Varahadev. Please protect my consciousness. Please uplift us so we can serve you as a community and serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada. May we be engaged in the mission of Sankirtan. Hari Om Tat Sat. So, visualize this cosmic glowing energy and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lifting us. Hari Bol. Thank you. Yes, I see.
Hare Krishna, Hamsadutta. Yes. Thank you for this short, brief meditation. Hamsadutta Prabhu, please you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Mother. Please, can you accept my respectful obeisances? Oh God, to Gurudev, oh God, to Jaga Guru Shri Prabhupada, and oh God, to the wonderful assembly devotees. Thank you for the wonderful class. Though I came late, but I'm being able to just a little bit of it, which is really amazing. Mother, one question I want to ask is that the scripture says that we need to have faith, and we have to pray without ceasing. And when we have faith, at the same time you have hope, and you begin to pray and keep praying. And most of the times, when all hope and faith is lost, it's when most of the times your prayers answered. So it becomes like hopeless and faithless. So my question is that not having faith in God or not having hope in God or Krishna is a sin. But why is it like that, that we have to suffer and suffer and suffer and become hopeless and faithless? That is when Krishna answer you. This is my humble question, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I mean, the way you put the question seems a little bit like it's kind of painting Krishna as a harsh person or a punishing figure or something. So
No,
I want to edit your.
no, it's not like that. I have this idea that Krishna give you his time is the best, but at the same time, you have to become faithless and hopeless. So, like, I just want to understand that why is it that the time that you become hopeless and faithless is the best time that you have to have what you are praying for?
I'll give you an analogy.
Yes.
It's not my analogy, but it's an analogy that I learned with the 12-step program. They say that until and unless we can empty the cup of chalice from self-will and selfishness and control, until we can empty that out, we cannot have the Lord's grace fill up that cup. So the idea is that the hopelessness and the helplessness, and I can't do it anymore. I am feeling so unmanageable. I am powerless. Like Draupadi, when she finally said, okay, I'm not going to hold on to my sari anymore. Okay, hey Govinda, hey Govinda. And just like Arjuna, at one point he was reeling, and this and the family will, and there will be widows, and this will happen, and that will happen. I don't want to fight because of this. I don't want to fight because of that. And then finally he was like, finished. His arms were trembling. Gandiva is falling off his hands. His mind is reeling. He cannot do it anymore. He completely gets on his knees. He surrenders to Krishna and says, Krishna, Shishyaste sadhimam tham prapannam. After writing, 10 books, which is like many, many, many verses, no? Bhagavad Gita goes on and on and on and on. Krishna is like, okay, when are you going to be done? Krishna listens. Then finally Arjuna says, I'm done. My cup is empty now. Now you please fill it up. So Gajendra, similar mood of Gajendra. He tries Kachutali Salayutali Amakari Kalu Raktamaya Vagitumbitu Kolada Neeru. He was pulling left, he was pulling right. The whole pond became full of blood. He was trying to get away from the grip of this crocodile. He couldn't. Then finally he gave up, and then he lifted that flower which was in front of him. He lifted up, hey Govinda. So the point is, it's not that Krishna wants us to, the way you put it, like, oh, we have to become. No, it's just that Krishna wants us to empty the cup so he can fill it. He doesn't like to mix. See, we can't be aligned to God's will and say that, hey, let God's will become my will. No, it has to be the opposite. Let my will align to God's will. So as long as this priority is upside down, then Krishna will have to be patiently waiting there. When this child of mine will stop begging on the streets and suffering from hunger and starvation, and realize that he has a father who is Akilanda Koti Brahmanda Nayaka. He's the boss of the CEO of the entire universe, and he's begging on the street. So Krishna just wants us to drop that begging bowl. So, I'm just giving another analogy now. But the idea of the 12 steps is to keep that cup. When we ask mercy, Krishna, mercy. But if my hand is already full of self-will and control and regret and fear and shame and all kinds of nonsense, how can Krishna fill my cup? He cannot. So we have to empty it out. The self-will has to be gone. And then, whoa, overflow of mercy, like Prophet Prabhupada's case, overflow of mercy at the advanced age. He was building temples. That is when self-will is done by self-will, now God's will. May God's will be done.
Well, thank you so much, Mother Sri Radha Govinda. Anybody else with something else to ask or to share? See, I always say that I wish that we are not supposed to be saying I wish. But I wish I were somebody like Vasudeva or Nanda Maharaj, or maybe Yashoda or Devaki. But I look back, even all these great personalities, they could not handle Krishna. That is the problem. But I wish I were a parent of Krishna. Then I would talk to him, because the way he relates with us sometimes, like Amsadita Prabhu was saying, sometimes his time and our time, the difference is just too much. And there is one particular prayer in the Bible which I find it very beautiful. It was said by King Solomon. He prayed to the Lord. He says, do not make me too rich. If you make me too rich, I may become so pompous and forget about you. And do not make me too poor, If you make me too poor, then people will make mockery of you, not me. People will be saying, see, you dedicated yourself to so-called the supreme person. Now look at you. So I wish Krishna could listen to Solomon's prayer in the lives of all devotees. But Krishna is Krishna, like you said initially in your kata. He is not our demand supplier. Yes. Yeah. No. So he does what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So we pray that we can accept him that way. But sometimes it's very, very difficult to see how Krishna plays his own thing. Like I can never be so soft with Krishna. Like when I see videos, how much Srila Prabhupada physically went through so much. And I said, Krishna, what is this? And likewise, even our present day gurus, some of them, what they're going through. And then you ask Krishna, what is all this? Like I've been saying, if you want us to see what they're going through so that we become more serious, because we do not want our spiritual masters to be going through this. We say, Krishna, we've seen them all. Don't show us anymore. We've seen. Krishna is Krishna.
I mean, even great saints, no? They were those who spoke for the truth, they were killed. I mean, Jesus, look what happened to Jesus. Forget about other saints, even Jesus. So the point is, Krishna sometimes allows Prahlad or Jesus or Prabhupada, the great personality, Shaktavesha avatars, the incarnations or expansions of Krishna, to even them to go through so that those characters can be glorified. I mean, like I'm thinking, no, if what was the problem of this lady to give a flight ticket to Srila Prabhupada? Why she had to put him on a cargo ship? It's like, come on, it's like, what was the problem? She's so rich. What was the problem? But then it wouldn't be so poetic, the whole journey and the 3 heart attacks, and it wouldn't be so poetic. And we wouldn't remember it. It wouldn't be such a, for us, it's our hair stands on end. We are crying and we are experiencing pain, thinking of Prabhupada's pain and all the struggles. And I mean, days and days and days of journey in that cargo ship. So I also asked, what was the problem to give one flight ticket?
Yeah.
But then, Krishna wants to make it poetic. I mean, then the whole thing goes back to Gopi Gita, going back to why did Krishna leave the gopis? Everything, we go back to that same, everything goes back to the circle. So, but let me end with a positive note. The paradox is that Krishna, who had just, when he went back from Mathura, he had already killed Mushtika, Chanura, all the Putana and all the demons, of course. He had, killed Kamsa, everybody. And then when he actually goes back and then he sees Nanda Maharaj, like a little baby jumps at Nanda Maharaj, jumps at Yashoda. So the point is, Krishna is completely difficult to understand both sides. He's difficult to understand. Why does he appear so strong, and why does he give us free will that makes us suffer? But on the other side, this boy who has killed Putana and everybody is afraid of the stick of Mother Yashoda. He's crying, he's weeping, his face is all becoming all the kajal, and he's all, so the point is, it's very difficult to understand Krishna because he has emotions, but not the way we want him to have. It's spiritual dimension of reality. And sometimes, that, like I said in this prayer, it's my own doing. The suffering is my own doing. It's not Krishna's. It's me holding on to my self-will that's causing me pain.
Well, thank you so much, Mother. It's quite late your time, India Standard Time. It's pretty much late. Thank you so much for being here with us. Even though I believe you probably have a little bit of jet lag from all the trips to different countries and back in Mayapur. We can't thank you enough for giving us your monthly association. Even though you may be, I remember the last time you spoke, you were very busy doing something else, but you still squeezed time to be with us. We are very grateful for all these austerities you perform to be with us. Dear devotees, we're going to humbly, yes, right, beautiful answers. We're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves. And we all, of course, before we do that, Father Sri Radha Govinda, do you have some concluding remark you may want to make?
Yes.
Yes,
I would
please.
love to invite anybody who wants to work on themselves and develop that kindness, compassion, even with your anarthas and how to connect with Krishna through those emotions. I welcome you to join our Anartha Nivriti. It's called Inner Blockbusters. We bust our inner blocks. So you're welcome. It's a free program. And we have Krishna conscious material. So join us. I sent the link in the box. It's called Krishna Connection. You just join the Krishna Connection group, and then you will have notifications whenever we have meetings. And thank you very much for your attention.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, beloved devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to unmute yourselves, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare.
Vancha Kalpa Tarabhyascha, Kripa Sindhya Eva Cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Grace Sri Radha Govindadevi Ki Jai. Samud Vaishnava Devotees Ki Jai.